After months of shifting images, palace rumors, and public conjecture, has finally arrived, the moment the world never imagined. At last, Princess Catherine has spoken up. The monarchy and the country were left in utter astonishment as her steady yet sorrowful voice echoed throughout the royal grounds. It wasn't only heartbreaking what she said. It validated anxieties that the palace made a valiant effort to conceal. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any updates before we delve further into what this actually implies for the royal family. The doors were supposed to remain shut. Only a few trusted aides, senior courtiers, and a few family members were present in the soundproofed, press-free room. The events that transpired beyond the gilded walls, however, would reverberate well beyond Buckingham Palace. Princess Catherine stepped in front of them, calm but clearly tense, and started reading from a scribbled statement. Tension permeated the air. Her well-chosen words revealed as much as they informed. She spoke as a mother as well as the Princess of Wales, and everyone was shocked by what she said regarding Prince Louis's condition. The term, even the most seasoned royal correspondents were stunned by the weight of anguish associated with the carefully chosen wording, which was neither defined nor refuted. She spoke in a forceful yet delicate tone while describing a tragic reality, unseen difficulties, and concealed suffering. The fact that this was not a prepared palace press statement became very evident. This was the unadulterated truth. The palace's lines of communication blew up in a matter of minutes. Scheduled programming was disrupted by national outlets. Global networks rushed to verify the seemingly implausible. The royal family's unwavering reputation for its most cherished figure has just broken the stillness and restraint. There was a social media craze. Louis-named hashtags became popular all across the world. Love-filled messages were coming in by the second. However, the atmosphere within the royal circle was one of destruction amidst the public outrage. It was reported that Princess Anne, who was frequently the most composed member of the family, was clearly upset. Immediately following the briefing, Prince William, who had stood by his wife for so long in public poise, vanished from view. Palace aides described an eerie quiet spreading through the halls. Hours later, an insider told a journalist, "We always knew she'd do what was right." However, none of us anticipated the expense. Music, however, it was not the content of Catherine's message that was most startling. That was the goal. Her last words echoed over tradition like a bell. Music, the truth needs to be revealed. A modest yet defiant word that signals a major violation of royal protocol. She hadn't asked for approval. The palace press office had not given her the all-clear. She had just decided to talk, and in doing so, she put herself at odds with the same institution she had promised to defend, in addition to being at the center of a global storm. But we need to go back to the first subliminal clues to see why Catherine's declaration rocked the monarchy to its foundation. Long before anyone dared acknowledge it, there were indications that Prince Louis's world was changing. Music, the world wasn't alerted by a scream. It was the overwhelming quiet. One question kept getting louder as royal events, public appearances, and official pictures proceeded. "Prince Louis, where are you?" His absence from significant events sparked rumors in the media, but what began as tabloid chit-chat soon turned into something much darker. It seemed subtle at first. A trimmed snapshot here, a missed engagement there. The public became aware of an odd edit at a royal Easter ceremony. Although Louis' name appeared on the official schedule, he was not present. Speculation was dismissed as internet chatter, but astute royal observers started to assemble a list. A pattern emerged from balcony appearances to Christmas carols. The silence surrounding him was getting louder, and Louis was nowhere to be found. Then the picture appeared. What ought to have been a happy, cohesive picture of the Wales family commemorating Prince George's birthday turned into a contentious hotspot. With the exception of one obvious detail, the image was warm, polished, and everything the monarchy wished to represent: music. Prince Louis was gone, but not forgotten. Music, social media was ablaze with rumors. Beneath the portrait banner gate, digital forensics specialists weighed in, raising concerns about shadows, spacing, and posture that suggested the image had been manipulated. Music, if so, what is the reason? Hours later, the palace tried to put out the flames with a cryptic statement. At home, Prince Louis is having more peace and quiet. But the phrasing only added fuel, it said. Music, what sort of silence prevents a child from approaching the painting of his own family? Additional, more importantly, why now? The general public wasn't happy. The media wasn't persuaded. Tension inside the palace also started to build up behind the scenes. The absence wasn't the only thing. The discrepancies were the cause. Louis was initially scheduled to attend several engagements, according to calendar entries from leaked royal schedules, but those entries were subtly removed in updated versions. Family members of aides started to voice their concerns. According to some, Catherine had grown more reclusive. It was rumored by others that she had visited a private medical center on several occasions in complete secrecy. Music, the period coincided with Louis's absence dates. Even the newspapers had stopped portraying the matter as gossip about celebrities by this time. Reputable outlets started looking more closely. Reporters who had long had access to the palace were shut out. The length of briefings was reduced. Overnight, royal communications were strengthened. However, even as the something was obviously unraveling within those gilded gates, and royal machinery worked to control the mounting discontent. For many, it was the last straw when Catherine was caught on camera alone at a high-security pediatric facility's rear entrance. Her car was encircled by unmarked security vehicles, and she dropped her head. There was no response from the palace, but the press didn't require one. No amount of denial could ever match the visual quiet. Music, an unintentional leak, broke the illusion as the questions grew and the silence deepened, rather than the public or media deciphering the code. Entirely, it was never intended for public view. However, the reality they had struggled to conceal was revealed by a single misfiled document and a mistake in the palace's closely guarded communication system. A single name, a heartbreaking illness, and a clear connection to the youngest prince were all included therein. Damage control went into overdrive as a result of the disclosure, which sent royal servants reeling. Music, the press did not intercept the file. It wasn't from an agenda-driven whistleblower. Palace insiders would subsequently acknowledge that it was an internal health letter that was marked as extremely secret, wound up in the mailbox of someone it shouldn't have reached due to a clerical error. Music, that it was sent to an external contact by an unidentified person who thought it was an innocuous administrative message. It had already found its way into the hands of someone who would not keep quiet by the time its actual contents were revealed. Prince Louis's ongoing pediatric observation and response protocol was mentioned in the text. The language was unmistakable, yet it was technical and music medical. The website was replete with terms like neurodevelopmental divergence, longitudinal monitoring, and progressive indicators. Music non-disclosure, continuation, and controlled narrative approach words were stated in the last paragraph, usually connected to the welfare of a child. This was more than a health report. This idea was never intended to be made public. Panic broke out in the palace when the leak reached the private circuits of the London press network. All night long, phones rang. Before the first headline was even written, legal threats were planned. However, the harm was already done. The document didn't need to be published by the few journalists who had seen it. The people took care of the rest. They just had to hint at what it revealed. A flurry of speculation broke out. What started out as worry turned into pure terror. The palace responded immediately. All conversations pertaining to health were blocked. Employees received warnings, reprimands, and reorganizations. Even for veteran assistants, physical access to internal files was limited, and a new set of digital security measures was hastily implemented. The meeting then took place. King Charles himself ordered an emergency crisis summit. It was anticipated that every senior member of the royal household would be present. However, one chair was still unoccupied: Catherine's songs. No one questioned her absence. People were afraid. Was the demonstration silent, an unwillingness to assist, or was it more profound, behind closed doors, something is already underway. According to several palace insiders, Catherine the Concealment had been making him restless. Others said that she had been aware of the paper for weeks and had taken no action to stop its spread. Music, like a lot of things inside the royal gates, the truth was shrouded in uncertainty. Music, however, the breach revealed this to the world. Prince Louis wasn't only sick. Music, he was the focus of a top-down narrative, well-planned press appearances, and orchestrated silence. And his condition was no longer the only question. It concerned who in the palace still had the determination to be honest. However, if this leak was an accident, the subsequent actions were intentional and originated from the palace's interior. Voices were raised, according to witnesses. According to some, Princess Anne sobbed as she left the room. There is little doubt, music, that the most devoted royal unleashed an emotional outburst against her brother, the king, behind closed doors over what she described as a violation of transparency. Prince Louis and the public concealment of the truth were at the heart of her rage. The altercation was not planned. Royal etiquette did not practice or soften it. It was explosive, quick, and raw. Palace aides say it happened just hours after the leaked medical file sent shock waves through the royal corridors. Long regarded as the monarchy's most steadfast defender, Princess Anne unexpectedly barged into a high-strategy meeting. She wasn't protecting the throne this time, though. She was calling for her nephew to receive justice. She didn't hold back when she stood in front of Charles. She said he had planned a deliberate